budget of like around 190 million for financial year. But you find you still have people, students, primary kids, they're learning under a tree. Those are governance issues that this generation wants answers. When you're asking us for a new budget, why should you bring a new budget and yet the other budget, you've not told us what happened with that budget, how did you spend the money? Those questions are just from we, the voters. But now, the biggest issue, we look from Kenyan perspective. And I like it because every day we use the digital governance as a way of telling our leaders this is wrong. We tell them on the face, we are not supposed to fear your leader, we're supposed to respect your leader. The era of fearing that certain person cannot be talked to, it's bad. And a good friend of mine told me, if you hear a small accident or a small thing in a country and they say the president is not working, it means there's a problem. But I've been in China, I've been in South Africa, summer. You find they don't talk about the president because you find the roads are moving. You find things are working. When things work, you never hear about people mentioning the leadership. I've been in China for some time. We don't hear even people talking about the president because you find the highways are doing, you find the roads are working, the hospitals are working, the insurance funds are working. But today in partly of Africa, we cannot, the maternity is expensive for us. So there are very many things that are happening today in Kenya that are not good, but the youths are on the forefront.
Okay. Sorry to cut you, Mr. Lichuma. You have mentioned several topics. I'll try to just highlight from one or two or three from them. You mentioned about demographics, and it's something that I'm always interested about. So usually scholars have debated on whether demographics contribute to the economy of the nation. And we see trends and patterns whereby Europe had more population than Africa at some particular time, and they were doing really great. And we see China as well, with the population, they used it to their advantage to boost the economy. And now the young age now is in between Asia and Africa. But then in Africa we have the youngest fertility rate. So that means there is still hope for Africa's population. So you mentioned that indeed there is hope, the trends as they are going, indeed Africa and Asia, I do believe this is our time right now with the way the trends are going. And you also mentioned about the Gen Z protest, which was a global phenomenon. It was all over the world. It inspired even Nigerians to actually start their own protest, which was End SARS. So I just want you to shed more light on that. Like after the Gen Zs went to the streets and protested about the policy that the government was supposed to implement in taxation, and I know some people would be interested to hear if they succeeded in making sure that the bill does not go on, or did they not succeed? How did it go? I just want you to shed more light on that.
The Gen Z movement, it's a movement run by young people. They don't have a leader. It's a tribeless, it's a leaderless group. They used to mobilize themselves using social media. They used the X, they used the WhatsApp, they used different ways, and that was the best thing that happened to our country, because whatever they are taught in class, they did it, they applied it on the normal society. So they managed to tell, you know, sometimes when the king is naked, it's good to tell the king is naked. So it seems that people are not telling the executive that there's a problem. So that is when the president said this bill is not good, and he put it out. Even here, there are some people who had to suffer the road by getting fired, because you cannot be, the king is naked, but not telling the king is naked. So it is something that they achieved it. But my problem comes in, it is always good to know when to exit the stage. Yes, they achieved what they wanted. They never wanted the bill. The people who brought the bill suffered the consequences. But they continued protesting. So for me, I felt that it is good for them to leave the stage when their things have been handled. The only thing now, they come back and sit at a periphery and watch out how does things go, because stability is very important. Because I think the demonstrations was hijacked at a certain point by people we don't know, because when the president, even the president by that time ceded to them, and going to express 1 million plus youths talking to the president, it has never happened in history. But the president was humble enough and went to them. So we expected them to stop and now let the leadership do what they have already been had. So they achieved it. But also for them to be great in future, we need now to amass people with voters card. I don't think through the streets you can get to power. Through anarchy.